Flavour.
Cambridge Radio.
I'm going to read you the menu. It's fantastic.
So we get better flavour because of the fen soil.
I've drunk more beer since I came here and bought my 2 barrels than I've ever done in my life before, I think.
I shouldn't have said almonds. They don't make it from almonds.
So you've got this big sticky mess when you start off.
Pizza, pots, pints.
My wife's cakes are excelling at hot cakes. Brilliant, thank you.
The time is right for this sort of thing.
Food is everything.
Cambridge is right for this sort of thing.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the first Flavour of 2026. I'm Alan Alder. We've no Matt Bentman today or Sue Bailey, but Gavin Richards is here on backup if my voice fails. And today we're looking at some of the stories we covered in 2025 and playing some extracts from them, which we hope will give a flavour of the year. We'll hear about some of the new cafe and restaurant openings, reopenings under new ownership and closures. And we'll also hear from local food producers, retailers, growers, with a bit of food history, wine, all sorts. And if hearing any of the extracts we play for you today makes you want to hear the original full interviews, they are all in the relevant Flavour podcasts, which are available from many sources, including the Cambridge Radio website. And also today we'll have our regular features, Free Food in Cambridge, local food and drink news, and at the end of the programme, our Jobs Roundup. But I hope it's not too immodest to start off with this story, but a big moment for Flavour in 2025 was winning Velvet magazine's Food and Drinks Heroes Award. Velvet is edited by Alice Ryan, who is a great advocate of independent food and drink producers. And in November, Matt spoke with Alice, and she talked, among other things, about where she likes to eat and drink in Cambridge and the importance of design in hospitality.
One of the places that I really love is Pages.
Yes, on Trumpington Street.
On Trumpington Street. And I love it actually for the feel of it, the design of it, as much as the food and the drink. I think they've done an absolutely brilliant job. And I feel my shoulders kind of drop as I walk in. They've made it quite a zen space. But the style of it is a big part of the draw. It's part of the attraction. I think that's applicable across most businesses, really, but certainly in hospitality. These days, you've got to have a reason to get off your sofa, to not have something ordered in. Part of that, a big part of that, is the fact that it's somewhere you actually want to be. Yeah. I have very fond memories of doing the King Street run in my pyjamas, which obviously, for those who don't know, it's when you have to go to every pub on King Street, have a drink in every single one, and make it home vertical. A student rite of passage.
So do you remember the other places that you would have frequented on King Street back in those times?
Well, do you know, actually, the Noodle Bar, Yippee Noodle, that opened while I was a student. I think the noodles there are unrivalled, and it's still one of my favourite places. Also, we were just talking about the St Radegund, you know, some of the pubs along there, the Champion of the Thames, the Radegund particularly, much missed. The fact that several of those places are still there 20 plus years later is heartening, because so much has been lost. Those gems that are still there, I do prize them. I came back to work for Cambridge News, as it was. Really a long time ago now, actually. That transition, I think, for me, going from the gown experience of Cambridge to the town experience, really deepened my affection for the place. Much as I loved it as a student, it was quite a surface experience compared to the experience that I have now, because there is a great community here. And yes, we have a huge transient population, but we also have a huge, really rooted population as well. And that's what I love about the regional journalism and about, you know, editing Velvet, is feeling part of it. You know, ultimately, I'm a storyteller, and it's being able to connect with people, tell their stories, give them time in the spotlight, ideally. It's a very positive thing.
And that was Alice Ryan, and Matt particularly loves the storytelling part of that, and hopes that's what people like about our programme. And like Alice Ryan, we of Flavour are very keen on small independents, so that's who we spend most of our time talking to. They are more able to produce the best food and drink because small-scale production allows them to take more care. It's true of all manner of things, and a very good example is in the growing of food. A.D. Gordon of Sweet Pea Market Garden explained this in an interview for Flavour on the 17th of May. Do you think growing in the way that you're growing enhances flavour? And I guess also the varieties that you grow.
Yeah, I think growing on a small scale allows you to select varieties that might not be so productive on a bigger scale, but have better flavour. We specifically choose varieties that do taste really nice, and we can also nurture them a bit more because we're on a small scale, so we can grow things that are a bit more tricky.
For example?
So, for example, aubergines, we can grow them in a polytunnel, and a lot of the salad leaves that we grow are really best when they're harvested and eaten almost immediately. They need to be harvested when it's very cool, so we harvest them early in the day, and then because we're taking them direct to market, people get to eat them when they're very fresh.
So they've been harvested the day when you go to a market. The things people are buying, you have harvested that morning.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
So most things, there might be a few things that we do the day before, but especially our salad, that's really important to me, that we harvest it on the morning of the market, so it's extra fresh.
AD will be selling her produce next at Histon's Farmers Market on the 17th of January, though she hasn't finally confirmed that she'll definitely be there yet. So small independents take pride in what they produce. Look, for example, at the social media postings of Misu in Mill Road that show their creations, or those of Willia at the Cheesecake House, whose Basque cheesecakes are a thing of beauty and which have exciting and imaginative combinations of flavour. And increasingly, independence produce can be found across the city. The kiosks on the Green in Cambridge are one outlet keen to provide their good food and beverages. The kiosks have been given a boost by their new owner, ex-university arms chef Amanda Langley, and she's sought out good independent producers to provide the eats and drinks. So good food can be found in more than just cafes, restaurants and bars. In March, Matt visited the kiosks on Jesus Green and Christ Pieces. Amanda wants to change the public's view of kiosks as somewhere you can go not just for crisps and a can, but proper, well-made food.
Got a big frying griddle and everything there.
Yeah, she's just been doing halloumi on that.
That's what tells me that, okay, we are in the 2020s now. This isn't 1996 kiosk anymore. No. Halloumi from a kiosk.
Yeah, and it looked so nice as well.
Large hot chocolate!
We've got Stir Bakery just up the road, so we use Stir for our bread. Then they deliver to us every morning, 7 days a week. Then I wanted a local cake maker, and I found Rachel from Rachel Bakes. Yeah. She's in Fenditton. So she now supplies all our cookies and loaf cakes, carrot cakes, etc. I bought a slow cooker. Mm-hmm. So we just put the pork in the slow cooker and do it here. So it's, you have to adapt.
That's the way she thinks, She gets around things.
Because it's so small and we're not a restaurant, are we? So...
I saw that was one of the things that was popular, your 3 cheese and chili jam.
Yeah, and
all of these toasties are on sourdough from Stir.
Oh, sourdough, yeah.
Yeah, goat's cheese, chutney and pepper, Cajun bean, that's the vegan one.
Yeah, that's the vegan one.
Yeah. Pastrami, gherkin and mustard, very American. You talk about the place being smallish, but there's still plenty of variety there.
Yeah, there is. And in the summer we do smoked salmon bagels and stuffed focaccia buns and all sorts.
There you go. Thank you very much. Give you a shout in about 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you, mate.
And they have seasonal pop-up food stalls throughout the year. All this and plenty of local independently supplied food, coffee from Hot Numbers, Antonia's Country Kitchen for hot sausage rolls in the winter, drinks from the Cambridge Juice Company, Scotty's Hot Scotch Eggs, and there's always new flavour fillings in the paninis, toasties and Baps range.
Where are you going to get a steak and blue cheese toasty?
Yeah. Down by the river. Yeah.
Tell you what, the 3 cheese and chili jam is absolutely top notch. Every time I go to the Christ Pieces one, I have one of those. That's Leanne's favourite that works there.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
I started with ham and cheese, then graduated to 3 cheese. You've got to try it. And also it changes all the time. Like she just said, the guys that actually do the punting, they come here for their lunch. She's doing extra things because they're going to get bored with the same stuff. Yeah. That's so thoughtful, isn't it?
They also offer a discount at Christ Pieces kiosk for bus pass holders, for coffee, sandwiches and cookies, and they do the same for bus drivers and taxi drivers too. But it's not just the kiosks that are under new ownership. Other businesses that have new owners, including Paschi Benedetto, taking over the Rupert Brook in Grantchester. And here he is talking to Sue on the 26th of July.
Feels like I've been here a long time already. We've been welcomed very much so from the patrons and from Grantchester, supported very well locally, and people from afar coming over who've found us since we've moved. But yes, it feels like we've been here a long time, very well received.
And it's a beautiful pub because you renovated it in the sense of putting in quite a lot of work in quite a short space of time.
We took the keys and business partner friend of mine, we bought the freehold, and he did the externals and I did the internals. We did everything, refurbed all of the inside, repainted the outside, brand new balcony.
Tell me about the high points.
Christmas was a very big high point for us. It was like, I've been doing this for 30 years and Christmas felt like something of the days of old, where people came in and had the long lunch and stayed till midnight, 12:30 drinking. Christmas was 7,000 people in December on food. So that's been a really great high for me, and it just sort of allowed us to hit the ground running. And the balcony and external area with the sunshine that we've been having, it's been very well received.
And you're always welcoming and there for the customers. And I think people really do appreciate that and look for you, don't they?
Yes, it's important. It's great to have a great team around me as well. All the guys who've been with me a long time, but customers I've known and served them for coming up for generations, really. I'm feeling quite old that I'm now looking after people for going into generations. But I am, as you mentioned at the beginning, I am here, I'm present, hands-on. So that's very important. It creates an atmosphere, and that's what you need. That's what sets you apart from other places in this industry, being hands-on.
Meanwhile, the Pear and Olive in Hildesheim has been taken over by Jade and Josh, whose previous experience has helped them to achieve a healthy following at the pub. They talked to Sue Bailey for our 23rd of August programme.
Worked in London for just over 7 years. Worked in 5-star hotels, Michelin, Rosette, French brasseries. So just got so many experience. Worked with some really good chefs. Same for Jade. Jade also.
I really wanted to get like an overall hospitality experience. So I did hotels, I did restaurants, big and small. I did the high end, the low end, everything in between. I did events, you name it. I did the hospitality version of it, just to learn as much as I could possibly learn in that time, which was our goal with moving to London. We were ready to do something more. I think we needed that big city lifestyle for a little while.
What was the sort of chef that influenced you most in London, would you say?
I worked for Tom Aikens, who was a really good chef to learn from. Ingredients he used the best and only the best. I worked at a place called Maison Francois with Matt Ryle. Again, he's a very good chef, and he taught me how to do a lot of classical French cooking. He's probably one of the top ones. There's so many chefs.
There were a lot of new businesses setting up too in 2025. Flux in Newnham is a coffee shop that occupies the building where Meadows once was, and it's proved mightily popular. I queued for 20 minutes one Saturday morning. This interview dates from the 3rd of May, just a few days before Flux opened.
It will be serving specialty coffee, really lovely hot chocolate and teas. I've got quite a big selection, actually. I probably shouldn't have got so many. I'm only having about 8 seats in there, so it's not a lot of space, but I'm hoping it'll be quite enough that I can talk with all of the people that come in to see me and get coffee. I'm hoping it'll be a lovely space for people in the community to meet each other and come in for the coffee and myself and to have conversation.
And an added pleasure of Flux is that you can get something from Monroe Street Bakery, which is just behind it through a gate in a fence in Grantchester Street, and eat it in Flux, or take your coffee to the bakery and sit at a table in their garden. Special. Another new business that I've enjoyed is the Cherry Pit in King Street, and owner Ellis explained on the 25th of January what it's all about.
The Cherry Pit is sweet pies and vinyl, so cherry pie, apple pie, pumpkin pie, pecan pie, and a whole load of new and used records to browse, and we do coffees and teas as well.
Yeah.
So a nice place for a sweet treat. And
indeed. I've seen on reviews people have been very complimentary about your pies, actually. Where are they from?
I bake them all in-house myself.
I see, right.
I adore making pie.
I think the pecan pie got a bit of adulation, didn't it?
Yeah, the pecan's popular. People often ask me, which pie do I choose? They don't know which one, and I can't choose myself. But pecan's very popular. The cherry pie is our signature. Pumpkin, I think, it's an unusual one people like to try. Yeah.
Well, I think pumpkin pie is really nice, actually. And presumably, as the year progresses and new fruits become available, you adapt or change the...
Absolutely. I'll be doing all sorts of specials. The thing about pie is it's so versatile. There are so many different types of pie, even sweet pie, and I think it's a bit untapped in the UK. Pie in the UK is often savoury, and I've got a lot of love for sweet pie, and there's so many to do. There's lemon meringue, key lime. I'm going to be doing a brownie pie for Valentine's Day with some cherries in there too. So yeah, I want to make hundreds of pies.
Where did the idea come from of combining pies with vinyl?
Well, I think oddly, pies and music have a strange connection. There's a lot of songs about pie. I think it evokes like a lot of sort of nostalgia and emotion, both music and pies, and yeah, they go together well. They complement each other. I did put a pie on a record player. They seem to fit perfectly. Didn't play anything, of course.
And when people come in and they're interested in vinyl and pies, can you predict what sort of pie a certain music lover will like?
That's a good question. Well, I think the cherry pie is quite a classic in films and things like this. I know there was the passing of David Lynch recently, and his series Twin Peaks was very pie-centric, and a lot of Twin Peaks fans came in having a black coffee and a cherry pie, which I really appreciated, and there's a lot of music that goes along with those sort of films.
Let's have a short break from our look back at 2025 for some details of free food that's available in and around Cambridge. You can find what's available from the Olio app, and that exists so that people's or businesses' surplus food doesn't go to waste. But there's another app called Too Good To Go, and that has unsold food from restaurants, cafes and shops, often at less than half price. And I've just been having a look at what's available. So today... up across at Cambridge Station, there's an evening bag which you can collect between 3 and 4 o'clock, and that's reduced in price from £12 to £3.99. At the same place, the West Cornwall Pasty Company has a lunch bag you can collect between 1:30 and 2. That's reduced from £12.50 to £4.19. Bennett's in Cafe in King's Parade has a surprise bag, collect between 3 and 4, reduced from £9 to £2.99. And there's also on the Too Good To Go app, there's what's available tomorrow as well, so you can just get what you want, and it's a big reductions. M&S Simply Food reduced from £15 to £5. That's a grocery supplied bag. So there's a couple of good apps for free or reduced price food to reduce waste. But now let's go on to some news, and here's Gavin Richards starting off our news section for the 10th of January 2026.
Yes, some news for this week. Scott's All Day in Mill Road is introducing a community card which will get you and 3 guests 20% off your bill within its terms and conditions if you live within a 1 mile radius of Scott's. Just pop in with proof of your address.
If one of your resolutions this year is to do with cooking healthy, tasty meals, then you might be interested in the Abbey Batch Cook Club. It's about learning to cook healthy meals, and you'll cook 2 or 3 seasonal recipes, take home portions, and also have lunch together at the event. It's on the 14th and 21st of January from 10:30 till 12:30 at the East Barnwell Community Centre, and you can sign up via the Cambridge Sustainable Food Instagram bio. It's free, or you can pay what you feel for the meals you take home.
Northstowe Tap and Social has a tap takeover on the 23rd of January by Verdant Brewing Company. That's from noon until 11 p.m.
Hidden at Pudini has a supper club on the 30th of January in Willingham. The menu looks fantastic. It includes prawn and crab agnolotti, roast duck with cherry sauce and blood orange, almond and polenta cake.
Danny Isuerdo has a gyoza making workshop where you make these Japanese-style dumplings. It will include dough making, folding techniques and cooking methods. It's on the 31st of January at 11 a.m. and costs £50. Takeaway box and soft drinks are included. You can contact Danny for more details or to sign up via her Instagram account, danny.cooks.
Market news. The next Histons Farmers Market is the 17th of January and Haslingfield's next market is the 25th of January, and we'll have more news later.
So Trumpington Allotments Seedy Sunday happens on the 25th of January. And here is Rachel from the Allotment Society with more details.
We'll be hosting Seedy Sunday on Sunday the 25th of January at Trumpington Village Hall. This is a really popular event that attracts gardeners and growers from Cambridge and beyond. If you've got any spare seeds, bring them along to swap and to share. You'll find new and interesting seeds from other gardeners and from heritage seed collections. There'll be stalls, seed suppliers, community groups and local artisans, and a wonderful cafe with drinks and homemade cakes. Proceeds from the cafe will go to Trumpington Memory Cafe. Find out more at trumpingtonallotments.org.
At the end of the programme today, we'll be talking about Dave Fox from Trumpington Allotments and frequent contributor to Flavour, who died in 2025. But back to our 2025 retrospective. It's a crowded market in Cambridge for cafes and restaurants, but a new business with a difference opened last year, The Artist in Chesterton Road. It's inspired by the life of Syd Barrett, one of the founders of Pink Floyd, a visionary musician who also spent much of his time painting. Matt spoke with owner Matthew Taylor on the 12th of July.
I mean, it's a fascinating story. I think that's why people still remember him and want to celebrate him.
Syd Barrett left Pink Floyd in 1968, but there was no ill feeling. Syd became a recluse, hidden away for literally decades in his mum's house in Cambridge, where he died.
Yeah, it's that combination. It's the creative genius who suffers for his art, I suppose.
This new venue has the official approval of Syd Barrett's estate and will feature exhibitions, live music, workshops, talks, and of course food.
Liverpool celebrates the Beatles. Does Cambridge celebrate Pink Floyd? Probably not enough. So having some sort of cultural reference point has got to be a good thing.
This is a cafe and bar, sure, but it's also a space for the public, as a performance space, an art space for exhibitions, clubs, groups, talks, demonstrations. Kind of a melting pot to collaborate with ideas and projects. Something that Syd would dig if he were here today. So let's see what's on offer at The Artist.
Bacon butties, they're very popular in here.
We're doing nice things like homemade soup.
Nice and comforting for the winter. Moroccan lentil soup, potato and leek.
Homemade macaroni cheese.
We import some amazing hot dogs from Scandinavia. We've got a wonderful partner called Peas of Heaven.
They're all vegan, pea protein.
We love their products so much that we ship them over. Just looking to provide fresh, good value. It's not going to cost the earth.
Cakes. And I think you might know one of the people making the cakes.
You go first.
No, you go first.
Hi, I'm Sasha.
I'm Chiara.
We are Molino. We are a new company. We supply the artists with banana bread and with carrot cakes.
We're trying to establish old-fashioned afternoon tea, proper old-fashioned cups, and we want sugar lumps with tongs and things like that.
Give the whole cafe experience a go.
It's the spirit of the 60s, I suppose. I caught the tail end of it, so I'm old enough to remember what it felt like, a bit at least. But things were they just seem to be much more open and people much more willing to experiment. But there aren't that many places in the city where you can just bump into people almost randomly. And if you want to sit here and be on your laptop for an hour or two, that's great. But if you're coming here because you want to meet people, and that's what I really like. So if we're helping bring people together, spark a conversation, that's what really makes the place work for me.
One food which is particularly well represented in the eating places of Cambridge is the pizza. A new pizza adventure was visited by Matt on the 9th of August. He'd been cycling along Chesterton Road and saw a street food van selling pizza, and it's run by a mother and daughter team. All their pizzas are made with sourdough, and their business is called La Biga Pizza. Here they are talking about why their sourdough is so important.
per sentire una canzone con te.
My kitchen is very cosmopolitan because it's my grandma, she's Greek. My grandma, my father's side is Kurdish. I grew up in Turkey.
Combining Italian food with her Turkish taste buds. So this is how it all started, really. My mum makes her own cheese. My mum makes her own butter. We actually travel to Grantchester to get some raw milk, and we will make our own cream here. Different chefs will do different things. I mean, some chefs won't put salt in the dough at all. Some believe just a bit of salt and a bit of oil will allow the dough itself, once it's being cooked, to be kind of glazed on the outside. So even to that degree, it's quite different from family to family in Italy. So to be able to go and learn that from different people and to be able to create your own little recipe in your own family, I guess is what it means to make good Italian pizza.
My water is very important because I fermented is sunflower water.
Yes, so what she means by this is she loves the smell and the extra process of taking flour that smells lovely. Just roses, could be...
Turkish name is ıhlamur.
We can make a tea out of it. It's a tree, actually. There's a lot of it in Cambridge. She will pick those, leave it in water, and then she'll use that water to grow her sourdough. That leaves beautiful smell. So she really works so hard on her sourdough starter. And I think that's why we're called La Biga. You know, pre-ferment is very important for us.
La Biga Pizza makes sourdough pizza from Wednesday to Saturday in different parts of Cambridge with plenty of vegan and vegetarian options. You can find them at Chesterton Road on Saturdays by the Spa next to Stir Bakery, and their full menu is online at labiga.co.uk. So, as it's evident from what we've covered so far in our look back to 2025, every year yields lots of independent food businesses around Cambridge. Some are bricks and mortar affairs, others are collaborations with pubs and cafes, like the Wonky Kitchens team partnering with the Cambridge Blue on Gwyder Street, or the award-winning Molino team joining up with the Barbarella Cafe on Chesterton High Street. On the 28th of June, we covered Kat Insana. She comes from the Shandong province, described as the birthplace of the dumpling, and she runs a home cooking business called My Private Kitchen. Here's Kat and her husband Giuseppe.
Some people ask me, are you going to open a restaurant? I said, by myself? Are you crazy?
A restaurant is a bigger enterprise, but it means you have to involve other people. Mm-hmm. For Kat, her focus is really on cooking. So I think this home cooking enterprise is actually the best platform to really concentrate on what she actually wants to do.
What's the special about my dumplings?
They are really original. They are really good. And they're large. They're large, they're tasty, they're juicy inside.
The other thing is the skin. It's very thin and it's fresh. You order, I make. In fact, one of the customers, she ordered dumplings. She said, I want to try your food. I said, okay. She tried the one-time dumplings, and she wrote to me the same evening. She said, Kat, it is very good. It surprised me because all these years, all the dumplings I had, the skin are very thick. So for her, the Chinese dumpling skin are like that because she never knew otherwise. So finally, she tried mine. She was kind of shocked.
I think that is a great reason to suggest dumplings, not only because it's really her forte, but also because it's going to be an eye-opener for people to realize what are real dumplings, not what they're used to.
Then there are vegetarian people. They order kind of regularly every week. So I said, what's the difference with my vegetarian dumplings and the vegetarian you had before? She said, when we buy somewhere else, inside the filling, you cannot see what's them.
Like a paste.
She said, yours, when we bite, you can see exactly this orange one is carrot, the red one is pepper, the green one is a bean. Yeah. Then there's a mushroom, there's a tofu. That's why she said, we like your vegetarian dumplings. I mean, it's not about to make money or to make it big. It's just
to make it good?
I like to cook in this kitchen. I mean, I cook my home. It's nice. It's very comfortable, you know. And you really feel like you're cooking for the family.
Yeah.
To me, that's the best part. Every time my friend keep asking me, "Are you happy?" I say, "Yeah, I'm very happy."
And that's one of the secrets why the food is so good. It has a secret sauce.
Yeah, it is a secret sauce. Oh my God.
Cooking with love.
Cooking with love.
Her comments reminded Matt of the dad at the Sea Tree in Mill Road, the fish and chip shop that used to be in Mill Road. He was someone who was reluctant to expand because it would affect the quality of the food. And it must be a tricky decision to make. Kat and her husband both have experience of running restaurants that suffered through expansion, and in her case, she feels smaller is better for both her and her customers. Finally, in our look at what's new, there's a new provider of refills, Van Jard, which operates from a van, and it's something special. It makes sure it provides top-quality foods to go into your containers, and this is from our programme of the 18th of October.
So we are aiming to try to reduce packaging waste in Cambridge and also to promote local small producers. So we sell bulk dried foods, so for example locally milled flour, locally roasted coffee, rice, quinoa, pasta, lentils, fruits and nuts, that kind of thing, herbs and spices, and we also do liquid refills, olive oil, sunflower oil, that kind of thing. And then we have various like personal care products and household cleaning products as well. People can bring their own containers, or they can use some of our free recycled containers, or we have paper compostable bags as well, or Kilner jars and bottles that people can buy.
Oh, really? That's fantastic. Well, let's just have a look in. When I suppose when you buy things in bulk, you don't see on the packet where it's from. I mean, some people are interested in that sort of thing,
not.
or whether it's organic or not. You do that job for us, do you? This is good stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, where possible. So, for example, the coffee is locally roasted at Hot Numbers. A lot of our suppliers are sort of bulk organic wholesalers, so they do tell you on the website where the product is coming from, but it's not always from the UK. So Sumo, who's probably the major supplier that we use, sources as much as possible locally from the UK, but it's not always the case. So we're considering moving to some more UK-based suppliers, for example Hodmedod's, who do lots of British-based
Yes, and
foods.
they're really highly regarded, aren't
they?
Very highly regarded.
And we do have some products from them at the moment, like, for example, we have their Carline peas.
Do you? Right.
Yes, which is a really great and kind of almost forgotten British staple, really, isn't it? Carline peas.
Yes.
So we have that, which is
that's
really
impressive.
exciting.
And where's the flour from? You said the flour was local?
Yeah, so that is... so we're hoping, once we got through this batch of flour, that we'll move to something really Cambridge-based. For example, I can't remember what the name of that... The mill you said you got.
Foster's Mill.
Foster's Mill, I think Priory is another.
Well, it's the same, yeah.
But at the moment we have bought from Shipton Mill, Gloucestershire or something. So it's not as local as it could be.
No, but again, a highly regarded company, very highly regarded company.
Yeah. And they have like very, very good quality flour, which we really appreciate. Great for bread.
And you can find where the Van Jard is operating from their social media account and website. And from today and every Saturday, they'll be at the new Clay Farm Market in Hobson Square, which has fresh produce, artisan goods and street food. That's every Saturday in Hobson Square. Right, we're going to have a break for 2 minutes. Please stay tuned.
Cambridge Radio.
On Cambridge Challenges, Lewis Herbert looks at how plans to grow our city can be met sustainably. His guests are Peter Freeman, chair of the Cambridge Growth Company.
We've got to tackle the affordability of housing, water shortage and transport.
Councillor Dr Tumi Hawkins, planning lead for South Cambridgeshire District Council.
As far as the planning permission goes for as many homes as is possible to give, we have those already. It's the delivery that's been the issue.
And John Latham from the Federation of Cambridge Residents Associations.
The Milton Road Residents Association saw their main purpose in life to be to influence strongly the outcome on the GCP programme for Milton Road.
Cambridge Challengers, online whenever you want, and Sunday at 12 on Cambridge Radio.
If you're like me, running a small business, you know how important it is to get your name out there. That's where Altogether Plus comes in. They're bringing businesses together, from plumbers and gardeners to IT experts and lawyers, all on a brand new, easy-to-use website. You can list your business for less than £1 a month. And if you're looking for a local trader, well, you'll know exactly where to go. altogetherplus.co.uk.
We are Cambridge.
Cambridge Radio.
Welcome back to Flavour and our 2025 retrospective. There were quite a few closures in 2025 and all those places will be missed. A particularly big loss was of Daily Bread off King's Hedges Road, which had been open for 30 years. Happily, some other long-established places are still there and going strong. The Indigo Cafe in St Edward's Passage, running up the side of the Arts Theatre, has been open for 25 years. Sue Bailey visited on the 25th of January.
What are the things you've noticed the most in terms of change in the food sort of area and in the type of food that you do in the last 25 years?
Well, in the centre of Cambridge, the market is completely flooded, basically, with food offerings now. I could say that 25 years ago when we first opened, there were maybe 2 or 3 cafes. There were no Starbucks or Costas or Nero's. So people really had to make the decision to come for a coffee where they knew they could find a cafe. And the main streets were shops, not restaurants and cafes. And that has gradually changed over the years. So in the centre of Cambridge now, the main streets are a majority of restaurants and cafes and chicken outlets and fast food places, and so it is very challenging kind of maintaining your slice of the market when there are so many other places selling coffees and teas to take away as well. So yeah, that is a challenge. That is a real challenge. But as I say, we've managed to sort of diversify a little bit and selling oat milk and this kind of thing. So we're sort of keeping ourselves above water.
And you do a really lovely range of coffees and teas and herbal infusions and some lovely food. Tell me a bit more about your food offering.
Well, we specialise in a lovely array of cakes. We have both vegan and gluten-free options. We make hot soups and toasted panini sandwiches. Again, a range of vegan, vegetarian and meat fillings. We have our homemade coleslaw and salad to put on the side of your sandwiches. And we also have ciabatta bread for making just regular to-go sandwiches.
And another company that's still going strong after 25 years, though its roots go back much, much further, several generations to a stall on Cambridge Market, in fact, is the Cambridge Juice Company. And I met Jason and Kelly on the 19th of April, a gloriously warm and sunny day. When you set up a new company, or when your company starts doing something as different as making fruit juices and selling them, you've got to be confident. So what made you confident that your juice would sell well? What's special about the juices that you produce?
So for us, what was really important was to use, again, what was on our doorstep and actually not to change anything about it. Actually just use the fruit that we've got, not add any water to it. We don't add any sugar to it. The apple juice is 100% apples. It's not from concentrate. The apples and raspberries is just apples and raspberries. It's literally just what you see on the label. There's so many times now where you pick up a label and you can't read the ingredients. You have no idea what they are. You don't know what you're eating or drinking. So we just want to keep it simple.
Yeah. So most drinks are made from concentrates, are they?
A lot of juices are from concentrate. Yeah. I think the premium juices are not from concentrate, definitely.
And you are one of those premium products, aren't you?
We are, yeah.
And since we're looking back a bit, Sue found a very interesting source of local food history when she visited the Cambridge Archives for their bake-off.
Well, firstly, we all love the Great British Bake Off, and I think we all miss the days when they used to do the historic section as well. That was always very interesting, and we thought it would be fun to make our own attempts. We all love a tea and biscuit as well, and so a few years ago we decided that it would be fun to find what recipes we might have in the collection, because There are so many varied records from important court papers right down to recipe books, and they come from various different sources. So we have WI recipe books, we've got records from Chivas jam makers, and that's been an amazing source of recipes. And we also have things that we found that we're not quite sure how they came to us, but sort of household recipe books. And they're not just food, they can be for various medicaments, for ailments and things like that, or a good polish for brass. So we thought it would be really interesting to try and recreate some of those and share the results on social media. So this is, I think, the third time we've done this competition as the Great Archives Bake Off. I think the first time we did it was a few years ago, and a couple of other archives took part as well, sort of remotely. So they also made recipes from their collections. So we've had a whole range of things dating back from the 19th century into the 21st, and very interesting to get our heads around some of the old measurements and particular ingredients that you might not be able to find anymore, and trying to use our baking knowledge to sort of put that together, almost like a technical challenge, and use our baking know-how, or perhaps lack of.
Tell me a little bit more about your winning recipe for Spanish puffs, a little bit about the history and how you made them and the challenge.
So I decided to choose this recipe because it had been a complete disaster a few years before when one of my colleagues attempted to make the Spanish puffs. It became legendary, and I thought it would be quite amusing to try and recreate them and see if I could make any more sense of the recipe or if it was lost to time. So the recipe comes from a recipe book that we've got dated 1826, and it's a small brown leather bound volume with the name Emma Curry on the inside, containing various recipes for cakes and biscuits and things like that. When I read through the recipe, it sounded a bit like you sort of make a sort of batter and then you fry it. It had some quantities in a gill of milk, which I hadn't come across before, and Wikipedia helpfully told me that's a quarter of a pint. And so you sort of mix the batter together and you infuse the milk with cinnamon and lemon peel and sweeten it very well. It's one of those recipes which doesn't have that many more specific quantities, so a little bit of butter and some flour. So I had to use my judgment to sort of work out what that would be. You make it into a paste and add some eggs, and then you drop the batter into a pan of, they said boiling lard, but I decided to go with the slightly more vegetarian-friendly alternative. And they formed little balls, and as I turned them over, they puffed up. So I was really pleased to see that that's why they got the name. And they were almost like sort of mini donuts, and they were much nicer fresh out of the pan than they were the next day. One colleague described them as looking like little ears, but they tasted sort of like a pancake or a sort of Yorkshire pudding batter, but slightly sweeter.
As well as new places, some well-established ones had new chefs or new premises in 2025. Amelie has moved to Ben's Yard near Ely because of the changes at the Grafton Centre where Amelie used to be, and opened a summer spot in Wicken too. And Sue spoke to Regis Creppy about it all on the 17th of May.
We've decided to leave the Grafton Centre, who was very successful when we opened, until the end, but the plan of the new owner was not to have any restaurant or any catering facilities. So we left and we went to next to Ely, 3 miles away from Ely, called Ben's Yard, where we've got a cafe, 80 covers cafe, who serve pastry, savory things which we make ourselves, and a restaurant, 150-seat restaurant, beautiful place where we serve our flamme cuche, or tarte flambée, but also an all à la carte restaurant, small plates and main course, and also a wonderful roast at weekends.
How very nice. And I have eaten there, and I could say, yes, the food is excellent. But I'm actually here in Wicken Vineyard, which is just the other side of Bury St Edmunds. So how long have you been here?
So we open officially on the 25th and April. We started 2 weeks before to trial the business, and now we are going to be here for about the whole summer, but also maybe in winter. It will all depend how it has been taken and how it's done and how people like it. But so far, so good. People welcome the product extremely well around Bury. You remember I had a restaurant in Bury St Edmunds called Maison Bleue, and then today we are happy to be back around here. And obviously, don't forget, it's my son who is the man person, and I'm here to help.
And Reggie's son is Alex, of course, who's been on Flavour several times over the years and who is also well known through his articles about food in Velvet magazine. And you can subscribe to Amelie's newsletter to keep up with their news. We like to find out about up-and-coming places too, and one of the most interesting and impressive places I've been to is Briar Farm in Willingham. Their concern for the environment and wildlife is very strong, and their interest in growing interesting food is really exciting. In their market garden they have lots of common foods growing, like lettuces, raspberries, herbs, but they have a lot more too, as I found on the 3rd of May.
Trying to create a mixed agroecological farm here, so we've got the market garden as part of a wider system, trying to work with nature in everything we do and have a patchwork of habitats and environments for nature to thrive, and also growing food for our local community and it being somewhere that's productive and resilient.
So an example of what we're kind of growing here, we've got some tea. We got some plants provided to us by a friend, and we're trying to grow our own tea. Yeah,
tea.
Yeah. So if we get this right, this one sort of 10-metre bed should, we've worked out, provide us about 350 cups of tea when it's at full production.
Well, I've never heard of that before. Right.
Fingers crossed. It'll be a while still.
And what sort of tea is it? Do you know?
I'm not sure well, it's Camellia sinensis is the tea. Most of the time it's how you process it. Depends on the tea you get out of it, is my understanding of it.
Oh, wow.
It's a hardy variety.
Yeah.
Well, that will cause a great deal of interest, I would have thought.
Well, that's a lot of
Willingham tea.
Well, that's a lot of what we're trying to do here, is be really diverse in the things that we grow. You know, we're growing a lot of unusual root vegetables from South America, lots of different types of herbs.
Right, tell me about some of the root vegetables from South America.
Okay, so one thing we grew last year was called mashua, which is a tuber that used to be eaten back in the day. It's also got edible leaves. It's a bit like a nasturtium. We've also grown ochre as well, which is like a small lemony potato. When roasted, it's really, really flavourful. So like a lemony potato. We've also grown sweet potatoes that have done really well. So it's just about trying to get more diversity into our diets and also see what grows well in the context.
And since that interview at Briar Farm, they've spent a lot of time clearing their huge glasshouses of nettles and started growing all manner of crops such as pomegranates, persimmons, peaches and nectarines. Their Instagram updates are fascinating and inspiring.
Wine news now. Bubbly Bandits has a big sale of cases of their wines with heavily discounted prices. You can email bandits at bubblybandits.co.uk for details of what's available and the prices.
And Cambridge Wine Merchants' popular beginner's guides to wine start up again this month at the King's Parade branch on the 16th of January, 20th of February and the 20th of March.
And speaking of wines, a very impressive new Cambridge wine retailer is Dovecote Cellar. Owner Matthew Juggins has a very impressive knowledge of wine and what food pairs well with it. Here in a nutshell is his thinking. It's back from the 20th of September.
Basically, I have a few kind of simple tips that are great to kind of get everyone started. You don't actually need to overthink it when it comes to wine and food pairing. And with a few fairly basic broad tips, you can find good pairings quite easily. So the first thing is, in a way, sort of the most obvious thing, which is the old adage of what grows together goes together. If you go with a wine from the same region as your food, you're probably off to a pretty good start. I mean, think of things like big hearty Aussie Reds with barbecue, Albarino with seafood, or Malbec with steak. Great one. I mean, in Italy, you could probably go around region by region pairing the local pasta dishes with the local wines. You know, it works fairly well. You know, because of shared terroir, wines and foods from the same region evolve together, and traditional cuisine in a region is developed to complement local wines and vice versa. They have flavour profiles that balance each other out naturally. So that's always a good way to start. Other things you could do are to think of wine as sauce. This is the big one for me. So if you think about what sauce you serve your dish with and pick a wine that matches that, that's a really, really great way to find an ideal pairing. So an example, pork with applesauce. Go with something like a nice crisp Chenin Blanc. That'll match the applesauce to the pork. Fish and chips, you'd serve that with lemon and vinegar, right? So go for something with nice crispness and a racy acidity, like champagne or similar sparkling wine. Actually, a really good pairing with fish and chips. Try it; it's delicious. Barbecue meat with barbecue sauce. Go with a nice, good jammy Zinfandel. So if you think of that, that's a really good way of don't worry about what the meat is necessarily. Think about what the sauce is. How the food's cooked as well, that really makes a difference. So, think about the difference between grilling something and steaming it. The difference between, say, chicken or fish that's been pan-seared versus battered and deep-fried. So the cooking methods can change the flavour and add complexity, or do neither of those things. Think of something like ceviche, and that's worth taking into consideration as well. A couple of other things, maybe you could match... so if you consider that it's not necessarily about matching flavours, but matching intensity, that's also a good way to go. So there are kind of two different types of pairing, really. You've got congruent pairings and contrasting pairings. So what I mean by that is congruent pairings that match wine and food with similar flavours to each other to amplify them. So if you think of something like oaky Chardonnay with a creamy or buttery dish, that's a good example. Contrasting pairings use opposing elements in the wine and the food to balance each other out. So if you take that same creamy or buttery dish and give it a crisp acidic white like a Sancerre to cut through the fat and richness, and that refreshes the palate, and that can be a really good pairing as well. You could go either way depending on preference, I suppose. Think about using a colour chart to decorate a room. This is an analogy I like. You might choose colours with similar tones that match each other, but depending on preferences, you might also want to create a bolder contrast to enhance each colour next to the other. It's personal taste.
And Dovecot Cellar reopens on the 23rd of January, but the online store is open for orders now. OK, on to our job section, and here's Gavin Richards.
Dulcedo Social in Eddington has vacancies for a breakfast chef, a head pastry chef, a trainee baker, a pastry and cake maker, a cafe manager and a head barista. For more information about roles and salary, email dulcedopatisserie@icloud.com.
Northstowe Tap and Social has a 30 to 35 hours a week position to join the bakery. Early starts will be needed and experience is preferred.
Dulcis is looking for a senior pastry chef with proven experience. You'll be working alongside the master chef who trained at Italy's most prestigious culinary school. It's a full or part-time position and is permanent. Email saygelato@dulcis-cambridge.co.uk with your CV, portfolio or examples of your work.
And finally, Restaurant 22 wants a commis chef or chef de partie, ideally someone with experience in a junior role in a fine dining restaurant. To apply, send your CV and a brief note about why you'd like to join the team to alex@restaurant22.co.uk. And all of this brings us to the end of today's programme. You can catch Flavour on alternate Saturdays at 12. We're repeated Sundays at 1, Mondays at 2 and Tuesdays at 6, and we're available as a podcast from all the usual places. After the news at 1, it will be Gadget Guide, but we wanted to end the programme with a remembrance of Dave Fox from Trumpington Allotments, who provided much advice to Flavour listeners since he appeared on our very first programme in 2007. He's greatly missed, and here are some of the members of the Trumpington Allotments Committee with memories of him. You can hear the whole appreciation of Dave and all he did on our programme of June the 14th. But until the 24th of January, when we'll be back, from Gavin, and thank you, Gavin, for standing in today, and me, goodbye. One of Dave's strong characteristics was a great concern for the environment. And Ian, he had some connection with the Wildlife Trust.
Yes, he did. I've known him for over 20 years, and he's always had that passion for wildlife. And I think it was an initial understanding that wildlife was important. But as the years went by, as I engaged, talked with him more, got to know him more, he really did understand the value of wildlife, and especially the local wildlife, like in his garden on the allotment. And he would venture out to Trumpington Meadows as well and wander around there when it was developing. So he was very passionate about all aspects of the environment, whether it be wildlife, equality, that sort of thing. A key part of his core, really.
Yes, and that extended to the way he liked to grow things on his allotment, I think, didn't it?
Yes, I think he went for permaculture and mulching, using as much organic matter on his plot as possible and no chemicals.
And the results, I mean, I'm sure we've all seen his allotments. His results were pretty spectacular, weren't they?
Well, it was his passion, and one of the things you can see in the corner is his forest garden. He's got his fruit trees there. It's a little wildlife area as well. And what he produced was incredible. We used to wander down, and when he was donating to the food hub, I'd do a pick for him or something, and produce bucket loads of food.
So he had his social conscience as well. I mean, this is sort of an extension of his environmental concerns. He donated regularly to the food hub.
Absolutely. So at the core of his allotment life was not only teaching people how to grow, but to actually make sure that the organic produce got out to people as well.
And also he had a connection with Arjuna, I think.
He did. After he'd finished his degree in Cambridge, he then started working for Arjuna. Now, I don't know if he started work when Arjuna was just a market stall, but they then got to have a place on Mill Road, which they still have. And his name at Arjuna is famous, basically.
He also had a great sense of fun as well, and I think Patty showed that sometimes here at the allotments on open days.
Oh, absolutely. The open days were basically run through Dave, his organisation. And one of the things he set up was something called the Human Fruit Machine, which kids love it, and adults actually.
And Dave, was he interested in bees? Is that something he...
He was always wanted to have bees on the site, even though he didn't keep them himself, because he recognised their value in pollination. As well as bees, he was also involved in a group of us keeping chickens as a collective for a while, where each family would do 1 day a week and then look after them one weekend in 5. And collect the eggs on the days we looked after them. So, being still going over 20 years later.
Flavour. This is Cambridge Radio.